All right, guys, we didn't videotape a lot of this. This is kind of our take on a patina paint job. So we're in the process of just kind of rolling it. This is called, this is a primer that you put right over rusty metal. But we're gonna roll this so that we have a texture to it, so that when we actually will come back and we'll shoot some black and some red over the top of it. And to give it a kind of a weathered paint job. We're not looking for a full-on patina. We just want to look like it's worn paint. We kind of got a Rust-Oleum gloss sunrise red. That's what we're going to shoot this with. If it's too red, I'm probably going to add a little bit of a black with that. We've got some black paint as well, so we're going to shoot black as our over the top of our brown here. You can see how we did a little bit of black here, but we're going to go through and we're going to go over that again with the primer. Get it all painted, and we will start sanding it down and seeing how she comes out. We've still got some work to do on the top. You can see we got a little bit of filler we got up there that we've got to get painted. But it's coming along. All right, guys, hopefully you guys can see this. It's getting a little dark outside. Shot a couple of coats on this. So, we rolled a coat on, and then now we're, after we rolled it once, I took and sprayed it with another coat of primer. It's kind of a rust-colored primer. We'll let this all cure. We'll get it all shot in black. Shoot it with a flat black, and then I'm going to come back and then we're going to shoot it with that the red, and we'll see how she looks. Put a second coat of paint on the truck here. Went over the brown, the rust brown with the black. We're going to come back over this and shoot it with probably a couple of different colors of red, and then we're going to try to start sanding down through this and see if we can get a weathered paint look out of it. We'll take a look and see how she turns out when I get her when I start sanding it down. One thing about paint, if you don't like it, you just repaint it and do it again. All right, guys, we put on another coat of paint. This is a really red paint. The bugs are trying to land in it already. So that's kind of part of the patina, right? Get a bug stuck in the paint. Put a sander right in, and she's part of the paint. Anyway, went on pretty thin. Like I said, it's pretty red. I think I'm gonna add some black to it just to give it, kind of like it a little darker. Kind of more of a burgundy color. As you can see, we're gonna be sanding through this anyway, so I think I'm gonna mix up some more paint, and we're gonna do some, I think we're gonna add a little black to it. So once we add a little black to that paint, it'll darken it up just a little bit. It's a work in progress. It's probably taken all summer to get most of this. It's supposed to be over 100 degrees today, so we'll be working on this thing as it's cooler. When it gets hot, then we'll probably get it put away, which I'm gonna probably do right now since my brain's cooked. I'm gonna get some of this red paint off of me, so. All right, stay tuned. So we've started doing some sanding on some of this what we're trying to do is just cut through that first layer of paint, just so that it starts to get a little thin. Kind of gives it a kind of a weathered, like a thin paint look. It's kind of more what I'm going for. I don't want to sand it down all the way into down to the metal and get the rust coming out. A couple of spots that you can see where it is, like I said, I've got it down into those layers of paint. we took a roller and rolled a lot of this paint, the primer and all that, so that when we do sand it down, it comes through and it kind of speckled. But that's what we're working on. We're gonna sit there and kind of buff this thing out and sand it. And then we're gonna get the buffer and polish it and see what it looks like. It's supposed to be pretty hot. It's supposed to be over 100 degrees today. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna stay inside the garage right now and stay out of the sun and go work on this. We're gonna do some sanding on the paint, see if I can start sanding it through to try to get some of that, some of the black primer that I've got underneath there to come out. I got some black and some browns underneath there, and try to sand them down and get them, make that stuff start coming out. So we kind of polished it up a little bit. It needs a little bit of a little more sanding on it though. We're gonna continue on with this one. All right, we've been sanding on this paint for a little bit. You see how our Patina is coming along. Been trying to sand it down to try to get the swirl marks and all. This is sanded down to about a 600 grit sandpaper. I need to probably take it down to go to 5,000 grit. If you look at this, this has been actually, we sanded this down to 4,000 grit sandpaper, and then did some polish on it and polished it from the sander, but we polished it all up. This thing looks actually really cool, really great. Kind of gives it that kind of a worn paint look. Still have some polished stuff on there we need to get off of there. That's just takes time getting it buffed all out. But I think we'll probably get it to this point right here because it looks pretty clean. But this is kind of my take on Patina. I wasn't really looking to cut through a whole bunch of paint, but you can see how we cut through. You can see multi-layers of red. We've got 2 different reds in there. It cuts down through the black and then into the brown. Brown is basically the brown primer that we put down. We actually rolled that with a roller. You've seen that in the other video. Now we're, like I said, we're just at 600 grit on this side. You can see how it's a little duller. We had gone through and sanded it down to a pretty, to the patina I kind of like. We started polishing. You can see how we did some polishing on it. Got it to where it's nice and shiny and looks great, but it's sure a lot of work and sanding. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to sand it back down to the 600 grit, and then we're going to shoot a clear coat on it. There's a right now I still got a bunch of swirl marks from the orbital sander. I still need to sand out of it because I don't know if I care for that, but we're going to sand it down and see if we can take care of that. And when the clear coat puts on there, it should cover all that stuff up. But we're getting really close. We're going to be shooting some clear on this thing. We'll see how she turns out.
Sorry, I would write.
No, you're fine.
You should have said walkaround wrong.
I'll introduce you. All right, guys, I've been sanding on this thing. I wet sanded it, polished it, but that sure was a lot of work. So we sanded it back down to with 600 grit, and we actually just shot it with a clear coat. We got 1 coat on this thing of the clear. Actually, I ran out of my clear, so I'm gonna have to go order some more. But we're going shiny, so this actually looks pretty good. Patina come out looking pretty nice. says we got all the wear spots in the paint, but we'll go through and we'll wet sand this and polish the clear and see how she turns out. Right now she looks pretty good. All right guys, stay tuned. Well, more to come. All right guys, I'm not sure what happened, but I lost some footage of our build on our 50 Chevy. Did a bunch of just hammer and dolly work on this thing to try to get it smoothed out a little bit. We got her sanded down, painted it, and can't find any of that footage. So not sure. Like I said, I guess if you leave these cameras sitting out in the sun, they kind of overheat and they stop recording. So anyway, this is where we're at on this. You can see this thing's all been painted. Gotta put black on it, and then we shot it with all red, and we shot it in black. We're gonna probably sand down through a little bit of this black to get some of the red to come out and kind of give us some, kind of give it a worn, weathered look, and go do some sanding on it. But we'll get the camera set back up and we'll see if she records. All right, pulled her forward, pulled her out in the sun a little bit. You can kind of see how paint job looks. So I got a little dry spray right there. I'll have to go through and wet sand it and polish it. Actually turned out pretty good. A couple of spots that I've seen that I missed when I was sanding. Kind of gives it a cool effect. There might be even some color from the original paint that maybe I sanded through to that. And to me, she turned out looking pretty good. Well, hopefully we'll get started to assemble this thing. I guess you know your paint job's pretty good when you can see your reflection in the paint. It's a pretty smooth paint job. All right, stay tuned. We'll get more going on this, and we'll as we actually start to assemble it, hopefully I'll kind of check my cameras a little more often and make sure that we don't have any issues with the footage, so you guys can see as we go along with this.